Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's Duchenne Method live stream. Welcome. This is our weekly live stream that we do together every Monday morning, 11 a.m. And this is the place where I attempt to demystify the mind-body connection for you to achieve optimal health and so that you might use these tools in your own life. Each week, I invite you into this little circle of creation, right? A circle of connection, and we enjoy ourselves. We practice my three-step proprietary system, essentially, that is very simple and that talks about three things. The first is to acknowledge oneself and others. The second is to engaging with ourselves, our lives, our inner self, our spirit, our heart, our energy, and then learning how to engage with others from this place. And finally, to move into a space of personal support. How can we best support ourselves in our lives? Of course, from a mind body alignment perspective. And then how might we use this support system out there into the world? Good morning. I am seeing you showing up. Thank you for commenting. Hey, Jenny. Good morning, my dear. Hi to everyone else. If you're here and you want to say hello, you can write in the comment. If you're on live stream, if you've signed up through live stream, you can write a little note in the comment. Let me know that you're here. I'm stoked to have you here with me this morning. I'm pretty stoked about today's talk. Let me just check here. Anybody else saying hello? Hello. Welcome. All right. Well, today we're moving into the topic of acknowledging your story in order to heal your life. This is a big part of mind, body, spirit alignment, to really acknowledge our stories in order to heal our lives. And this, of course, is an ongoing process. And this is what I love about my work. It's that it's an ongoing process. It has a beginning, a middle, and truly no end, right? Because we continue to evolve and to grow ourselves throughout our lives. And so that's what we're doing here this morning. We're looking to see, to hear, to share, acknowledge, engage, and support one another in practicing mindful communication and learning to share on this platform what's going on in your life based on the topics that are being offered. And the topics that are being offered, by the way, are more and more influenced by you, which I am totally loving. So thank you for sending in your requests, your comments, what you'd like to talk about. I'm definitely going to be answering all of those moving forward. For today, acknowledge your story, heal your life. Let me ask you a couple of questions to get started. What do you want to be acknowledged for in your life? If there was anything that you would like to be acknowledged for in your life, what might that be? And I'm going to give you a little heads up and a warning here. Today, you might need a pen and paper. So this might be a good time for you to get a pen and paper in case you might want to jot a few things down. We're going to have a little bit of a exercise together. So the first question that I have for you this morning is, what might you want to be acknowledged for in your life? Hey, good morning, Sophia. Hi, honey. Welcome. So good to have you here. Good morning, Sabi. We have Italy. We have Montreuil, France. We have Connecticut in the house. We have New York in the house. I think we have Quebec in the house as well. Welcome, everyone. So question number one for you today: what do you want to be acknowledged for in your life? And this is something that can be a little bit difficult to ask sometimes because it feels a little bit uncomfortable to ask to be acknowledged. And of course, I'm inviting you into this question from a place of centering, not from an egoic perspective, right? So it's important that we are able to ask for what we want to be acknowledged for. We're going to explore that today. Good morning. Hello. Christiane is here. Hi, Christiane. Bon matin de Louisville. Quebec is in the house. Wonderful. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for being here with me. So, question number one for today's talk: what do you want to be acknowledged for? There might be something in your life where you feel you were not acknowledged. And this is a personal thing, right? Sometimes it's embarrassing, or we don't know how to say it out loud, so we keep it inside. So if you have a pen and paper, you might want to write down, what would you like to be acknowledged for in your life? It might be that you want to be acknowledged because you are an amazing parent. You might want to be acknowledged because you did the best that you could with your children. You might want to be acknowledged because you're a fabulous organizer. You might want to be acknowledged because you're a wonderful wife or husband or spouse to your partner. So write down, maybe there's something that shows up for you, and it'll come in handy a little bit later on in our talk. And then what about your story? What about your story of yourself? What do you tell yourself about your story, your life story? Who have you become in your life based on what you believe your story is? We're going to go deeper into this today. I want to explore with you what you believe, who you believe you have become based on your story, which is from your past. So for most of us, it's a little bit uncomfortable to ask to be acknowledged. And it can be a little bit challenging to establish, well, what is my story? Like, what kind of life am I living, right? Based on a story, on something that I believe. And I want to invite you into a little bit of a deeper dive so that we get to know ourselves better. Because when we get to know ourselves better, we actually can heal. We can heal from any past wounds. And sometimes they're stuck in there. We're not even aware that we have some wounds that are stuck in there. And sometimes when we have wounds that are not healed, they tend to show up in our lives based on our behavior. And we will explore that a little bit as well. Okay, so today, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into how to acknowledge your story as a means to heal your life. And I want to say to you that your life story is a mirror of your past experiences. Can everyone agree to this? My life story is a mirror of my past experiences. In a lot of ways, I have become the product of my past experiences. And through this work that I've been doing for many years, I have discovered that there are parts of my past that actually no longer applicable to who I have become today. There are parts of my past, they no longer serve me. They're no longer helpful. The way that I thought in the past is in the past. It's not really working for me anymore. So learning how to release our past in order to create a new story for ourselves. And I want you to think of this as a vision of who you might want to become. Maybe you want to become the best crypto investor in the world, right, Pranjal? Maybe you want to become the best organizer in the world. You want to build a business. You want to become the best grandmother in the world. You want to become the best version of yourself. What does that look like? Today, we are digging a little bit deeper into this, and I want to welcome you again to today's Duchenne Method live stream. Here we go, my friends. Yay! Enjoy. Awesome. Okay, we're officially on. Welcome, welcome. Who else is here? Good morning, Elise. Elise is here from New York City. Thank you, Sadi. Yeah, I love the trailer too, right? It's part of the presentation that I am doing now because I'm becoming more professional with it, right? I want it to look more professional. I'm investing more time in creating things that will have a lasting impression and so that I can take my work out into the world. So the more I take myself professionally, the more effort I put into building something, a strong foundation and platform, the better it looks to people who are viewing me and can identify that I'm pretty serious about what I do, right? After many, many years in this field, I am now bringing my work out into the world. And I want to encourage you who are here today to do the same. And that's what we're talking about today, to acknowledge your story, acknowledge your life as a means to heal, and as a means to move forward in your life. So I want to invite you to have a pen and paper close by so that we might have some time to do a little bit of exercising together this morning. I'm going to be asking you some questions, and hopefully it will stir some imagination, some creativity in you as to how we might want to move forward in healing ourselves through the acknowledgement of our stories, our life stories. Welcome, welcome to everyone who's jumping in at the moment. If you want to say hi, please feel free to write a little comment. Let us know that you're here. It is always wonderful to know who's here contributing to our circle of creation. So to get started this morning, I wanted to do a little bit of exploration to explore your inner past, to explore your inner past. Sharing our stories. Sharing our stories is vital to our healing processes. When we write, we show ourselves compassion. You see how those all are interwoven. And navigating the events of our past can help us access our inner wisdom and our intuition. I'm talking here about nothing less than journaling, to start to write out your story through the art of journaling. And journaling requires more of us than just talking and thinking. Actually, writing forces us to access different parts of our mind and opens up other realms within our psyche. So that looks like your creativity, your spiritual connections, your imagination. All of these are incited when you start to journal and to write on a regular basis. First, we want to start writing from an uninhibited place. We write as a creative act, a little bit of a brain dump, and we don't worry about the finished product. Okay, for all of these A game players in the group, we want to write without having to think about the finished product. What we want to do is we want to write truthfully and fully, and with great compassion for ourselves. Telling your story, sharing your struggles and triumphs is one of the most powerful actions a person can take. It also requires courage to share your struggles and triumphs. For those of you here with us today who have a business, a practice, and you have started to write your newsletters, some of you are here who have worked with me as your mind body alignment coach, also business coach. I've helped you to get started with presenting yourself through expressing your voice, through writing newsletters, to presenting yourself on video, just like I'm doing now. This requires courage. So, first of all, I want to acknowledge you for your courage, for taking the steps into creating a piece of your history integrated with your present and delivered as a written piece on the internet or to your email group. It's a big deal. So congratulations on taking that first step. If you haven't done so already, you might want to start thinking about it, because casting yourself as the hero Shiro in your own tale, seeing your journey on the larger stage of the world and recognizing your power to create change helps you cultivate empathy and perspective. And when you won't or can't tell your story, you can sometimes end up feeling trapped, alone, lost, and constantly wondering what's missing from your life. Telling your story to just one person will connect you out of your isolation and will heal other people, realizing that they're not alone. Does that make sense? So it's not as if all of you are going to start writing a book straight away, although I encourage you to consider that. But you might start to practice journaling for yourself, because in the practice of writing, of journaling, you get to discover more of who you are. And this is an opportunity for us to heal, because as you are writing about your sensations, your feelings, your emotions, or something that has bothered you. That's really important, right? If we can start to get in touch with what has bothered us in the past, write it down. It's that exercise that I've given some of you here and that I offer my clients in general, is to write a letter to someone that has hurt you, to write a letter to someone that you are still holding anger towards, someone that you still have not forgiven in your life. And that's okay. That happens. Some hurts are bigger than others. I encourage you to write a letter to that person, not to send it to them, but as a therapeutic modality for yourself. Because when we write it out honestly and we say all of the real things, it's really healing. It is cathartic. You get it out of your system. Does this make sense? If this makes sense to you, please give me a 1 in the comments if you're tracking with me, if you're understanding the direction I'm going in here this morning by acknowledging your story is a tool to healing any type of past hurts. Awesome. Thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, so my friends, how do we start? Thank you for the thumbs up. How do we start this process? Many of you are familiar with this. This is a deeper dive into the exploration of how to acknowledge oneself. This is tool number 1, which is to be more avid in your writing, journaling practice, to carve out some important time for yourself on a daily basis so that you might begin to explore who you are on a deeper level with the intention of healing yourself. So it's super helpful to go out into the world and to find support, right? We work with therapists, body workers, with coaches. All of these are super important. The thing is, though, that you get to live with yourself on a daily basis every single day. And what we're here doing, what I'm here doing with you, is offering you tools to help you manage yourself better, mind, body, spirit, and emotionally on a daily basis. And in a minute, you're going to start to see some videos of me offering some movement, right? I'm jumping into movement this year because the number one thing that I have learned that keeps me energized, vitalized, happy, going, fluid is movement. And in my case, I love to work out. I love to do kickboxing. I love to be in the gym with my crew. This is what heals me. But I also love to roll on the floor with some balls, with a roller, right? And to just release my body, to melt into comfort. So let's move into the next step of what's possible for you with this mindful journaling. That's what we're talking about. Today's tool is about more of a writing practice for yourself. Here's a first cue that you might want to write down, and you might want to jot around this as I am speaking with you. And please do share if you have anything to say in the comments. So the first exercise I want to share with you is this mindful journaling. And the question is, what do you want? What do you want in your life? Before you can undertake mindful journaling in earnest, you need to unlock your goals. So, writing from a place that is uninhibited about anything that comes to mind is very freeing. And then the healing piece of it requires more focus. So, we start by brain dumping, we write from a creative place, and then in order to go deeper into the healing process, it requires more focus. So, ask yourself, what do I want? Can I admit this is what I want? Most of us feel guilty saying what we want, or don't even take the time to ask ourselves this question. Can you give yourself permission to ask for what you want and own that sense of permission? So go ahead and write down, what do you want? What do you want in your life? Can you admit to yourself what it is that you want? And for example, it could be a new car. It's okay to ask for what we want because maybe you have a dream of owning a country home. I certainly do. I want to have a country home in the mountains, right? And there are lots of pieces that come along with that. But when I think about my future, I would love to be able to have a second piece of property somewhere in the mountains, in nature. That's what I want. So this is a very ordinary example. It doesn't have to be a huge, big thing. It could be that you want to heal, you want inner peace, you want to let go of resentment in your life, whatever it is. Ask yourself, what do you want? And also, what are my options? What are my options? How can I move toward getting what I want? So this is a little bit deeper exploration. How can you move deeper into finding options around what you want? How can you get there? So I have a plan about how I'm going to get to my country home, right? I know about what year I'm going to buy it in. I know the size I want. I know the area I want it in. But this has been a 3-year journey in the making. I went upstate New York for 3 years looking for a place and it never worked out. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll go, I'll explore another area. That area didn't work out. And now I have found the area I want to be in. So it takes time to develop what we want and also to explore what our options might be. Please allow yourself the space to write this down and start to find options so that you might get what you want. The key is to be honest as you answer these questions. Be honest with yourself. This is your own personal work. You don't have to share it with anyone. All right. Make sense so far? We're starting with this one piece. The second piece in developing, acknowledging your story as a movement, as a healing practice, is that you want to be able to change the vocabulary that you might have been using about situations in your past. For example, right now, think back to a specific event in your past that was disturbing or difficult. Think back in your past of an event that was disturbing or difficult. Now, if you have a pen and paper, you can do this exercise with me. You might want to do 2 columns. And one column is the negative language and the other is the positive language. So under the first column, and you can think this out loud in your mind too, right? But if you're writing it out, it's very useful because we are talking about writing right now. Under the first column, make a list of all the negative words or feelings you're holding on to about this particular event and that you would also like to release. So there might be something in your past that you're still holding on to that you view as negative. Think about that. and think about the words associated with this. Now, don't augment the feeling inside your body. It's not this type of exercise. We're just reviewing now as a means to develop an acknowledgement to your story and use that as a healing mechanism moving forward. So you might have an event in your past, you've identified it, you've put some negative words to it. At the same time, you also want to release those negative emotions. You must have a desire to want to release those negative emotions. Okay, so you have a few words in that first list. Okay, good. Now we're going to look at your second column, which is the flip side of those negative words. And what we're going to do is we're going to improve the language. So let's say there's something in your past that you're really pissed off about. Instead of the word pissed off, you might use a slightly improved expression, which would be challenging. This is a challenging story about my past. Change pissed off to challenging. Now, bear with me if you think that this is not true. This is kind of a trick that we're lying. No, we're not lying. We are rewiring our neural pathways in order to be able to move out of the stickiness of those negative emotions. Okay, there is a complete rationale and logic to this work. So you want to focus on improving the language from that negative column, pissed off, frustrated, angry, hatred, disappointment, betrayal, all of those words that might show up for you, and then use slightly more positive expressions like challenging, wanting to move forward, upset. Maybe disappointed is a better word than betrayed. Do you see what I mean? So a slightly better, more positive, optimistic language to start to shift the way that it is possible for you to release those old patterns and to move into something a little bit more optimistic. Okay. Are you following me here? Let's see. Elise writes, that was my first goal. Access to nature, the woods, forest, aka healing. Yes, Elise, thank you for sharing of your dream, of your goal, what you want to create in your life, because I know that you also want to find a space in nature. Thank you. Yes, totally support that. All right. Is everyone following me with the exercise so far? Please let me know by putting a 1 in the comments so that I know that we're together, we're moving together successfully. So we've done our 2 columns. One column was the negative words from a situation that was difficult or trying in your past. And then the other column is more of a positive outlook, changing the language slightly. It doesn't have to go from angry and hatred to love and happiness. That's too much. Let's be realistic in the exercise. It's a slightly improved version. And the reason we're doing it is to start to unstick the sticky parts inside of our system, to start on the path of healing, of releasing negative, toxic emotions, moving into a more optimal way of living. Jenny asks a very important question. What if I can't find words that are the opposite? What if I can't find words that are the opposite? So usually if we can't find words that are the opposite, it's probably because it's a very deep hurt. And you might not be able at this moment to find better words. I need a thesaurus. So Jenny, can you share one word? Are you comfortable sharing one negative word from your past? And let's see if I can't help you to find a slightly improved word for it. If you can share one word. Fear. Ah, Excellent. Thank you. So let's say in your negative column, there's a fear that has shown up from a difficult experience from your past. So you're still stuck with this fear, and fear is very real in the body. You know, even this conversation some emotion might arise in your body. You might be feeling it in your body. Thank you for sharing that, Jenny. So let's make a slightly better word than fear. Let's see, what can we come up with together as a group? Yes, I feel quite sick at my stomach. Okay, so Jenny, stay connected here. Stay with us so that you don't augment it, okay? Because fear is very real. We're going to feel it in our bodies. So just put your hand on your tummy and on your heart, honey, and just stay grounded. Stay with us, right? Stay connected to this video, to this live. I don't want you to go into a full out blowout of having pain or fear in your stomach. We're going to release it right now, okay? You don't have to stay there. So what's a better word, a more positive word for fear? So a better word, thank you. Sabi shares the word apprehension. Apprehension. So Jenny, might that word, apprehension, feel a little bit softer in your body, a little bit softer than fear. So apprehension, just try it on for a moment. And I'm not saying that we need to fully believe it right away. This is a practice. We're moving from a place of a negative correlation, language that is negative, to a slightly more positive outlook. Yes, thank you, she says, Sabi. Wonderful. That helps. Elise writes, could it perhaps help to think of it as false evidence appearing real? Awesome, Elise. So Jenny, fear is also read as an acronym, and Elise is itemizing it right now, saying, could it help for you to think about it as false evidence appearing real? Does that help? False evidence appearing real in relationship to that sensation of fear. So that we have apprehension, we have false evidence appearing real. We can also move from fear to, I had a word a minute ago, from fear to disconnection, from feeling disconnected. Yes, Jenny says, thank you, Elise. That is also helpful. Awesome. Some of them are not easy, is it? So if you have some words that you're having a hard time translating, please share it with us as a group. I'm not the only one who has suggestions here. There are some excellent suggestions here. Sabi, Elise, anybody else who has suggestions how to improve the word fear to something slightly more positive so that it doesn't show up quite as strongly in the body. Just a note on this, because Jenny has been a really great model for us this morning. Thank you, Jenny. So sometimes you'll think about those negative feelings in your past and you will feel sick in your body. You might all of a sudden, your shoulders might get tight. Jenny felt it in her tummy, which makes a lot of sense because your tummy, your guts is, remember, we talked about this, your second brain, right? So you're going to feel things a lot in your tummy. When that happens, we want to be mindful, not to augment, not to increase the sensation. How do you do it? You put a hand on your chest and a hand on your belly, and you connect with yourself and you breathe to bring down, to regulate your nervous system. We can all do this ourselves, right? So you go hand on heart, hand on belly, and you gently breathe. And in addition to that, you can also say to yourself, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm safe right here, right now. I am fine. I am safe right here, right now. This can be super helpful and help you to regulate your nervous system. So if you're having that experience, please try this with me, okay? Hand on heart, hand on belly. Just remind yourself of what's really happening. What are we doing actually? We are acknowledging ourselves. We are acknowledging ourselves. In so doing, the point of this talk today, we're going through a healing process, healing mechanism. Wonderful. Jenny says, I'm here for you. Thank you, right? You can say to yourself, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Beautiful. Thank you, Jenny. You're awesome. Thank you for being a magnificent model for us. So that, my friends, was a direct experience, a live experience of a somatic processing exercise. Hand on heart, hand on belly. When an emotion arises that is very deep, and that you feel it in your body, in your tummy, in your shoulders. You might get a headache. It might be in your jaw. You might feel it in your hips. All of a sudden, you have pain in your hips. This happens all the time. And the big plus in being able to acknowledge what's happening in real time is that we have the power to shift it. The easy tool this morning that I'm sharing with you is hand on heart, hand on belly. Just tap in and just remind yourself, I am safe. I am fine. I'm here for you, meaning I'm here for me, right? This is really important to be able to identify. This is a somatic processing technique. Thank you, Jenny. Okay, any other comments, please? This is very, very rich information. Thank you for your amazing suggestions and support, everyone. Okay, so here we go. We were talking about thinking about something in your past that brings a disturbance, that you're still hurt about, angry. And then I asked you to identify 2 columns, the negative feelings, and then to slowly transform them into more positive words, slightly more positive words. So, and one of the ways that I suggested that you might bring yourself to center, if any emotions arise in your body and you start to feel discomfort, nauseous, sick in your stomach or anywhere, to bring your hand to heart and belly and to acknowledge yourself by saying, I am safe. I'm here for myself. I trust you. I am safe. I am fine. Also, when you encounter a trigger like this, and automatically what shows up, if a trigger arises, you'll feel something like you're triggered, you're pissed off, you're angry. When that arises, and I've talked about this before, but as a reminder, when you have an emotion that's very strong inside of you, what we want to practice is to remove ourselves a little bit from that emotion. So instead of claiming the emotion as who you are, so for example, Jenny was talking about fear. Instead of claiming fear as who you are, what you would say is, oh, fear is present. Fear is present with me, but it's not in me. Do you see what I mean? So this is another way to deal with this. When you have a trigger that arises that is super deep, name it so that it has its space in this circle, but it's not who you are. So if you feel super angry and frustrated, and those emotions start to, excuse me, arise in your body, name it first. Say, frustration, anger is here. But don't make them part of you. Have a conversation with them. How do we do it? We create a little bit of space between us and the emotion by naming it, just like Jenny did for us. Does that make sense? I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I am frustrated. I am angry. We want to shift that language into frustration is here. Anger is here. That creates a little bit of distance between you becoming the emotion and being able to recognize it as an extension of what you are sensing. But it's not who you are. And the reason I know that, and that you know that, is because these emotions pass through the body. They come and they go. Most of us have emotions of anger or fear or frustration, and they come and go for most of us. When we start to get into trouble is when they don't leave us. When you think about something from your past that is such a big trigger that you can't let it go. And then what happens if we cannot let go of our hurts from the past is that we bring them into our present and we live them out today. And we wonder why we get sick. These are all correlated. So you have a trigger, an emotion from your past that brings up anger, resentment, hatred, fear, and you take it on as if it was yours. What I'm suggesting is that it's not yours. It's a momentary sensation that is triggered from something that you remember in your memory, and instead of being able to give it a little space, you put it on like a cloak, and then when we put it on, we claim it as ours, and therefore we live our lives with these sensations and emotions in our bodies. And how this manifests on a daily basis is that you act out your anger and fear and resentment in weird ways. It's not just about the past and that particular person. It's that you're actually reenacting your daily life as that emotion. It's stuck inside of you. It's in your connective tissue because you believe that it's in you. So the languaging here is super important. I am afraid. I am angry. I hate this person. Shift the I to hatred is here. Frustration is here. Anger is here. Give yourself some space from claiming it. And it's a practice. But if you don't do that, I can tell you, I have lots and lots and lots of experience in this. I feel it in people's bodies through my work. And it shows up in the way that people talk about themselves. It shows up in what people are either able to achieve or not achieve in their lives. But it's not a big red flag. It doesn't show up in front of your face and then you go, oh, I'm acting this way because of my past. It's insidious. You're not really aware of it most of the time. And that, my friends, is the deepest, most profound hurt, is that we live our lives based on something that happened in our past that is no longer valid. Does this make sense? Please give me a 1. Sabi shares, I feel that naming the emotion is like putting a light/lamp on it, and then it gives less access for this emotion to overwhelm as it is seen and not hidden. Excellent. Unknown in the shadow, which would create more confusion. It gives more clarity to 100%, Sabi. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to share Sabi's comment here. So she writes, I feel that naming the emotion is like putting a light lamp on it. And then it gives less access for this emotion to overwhelm as it is seen and not hidden. Unknown in the shadow, which could create more confusion. It gives more clarity to. Beautiful, Sabi. I could not have said it better myself. So essentially what Sabi's sharing is that when you shine the light on something, you take it out of the darkness, isn't it? So a lot of us live in the darkness of our old stories. We live in the darkness of past hurts, of what could have happened to us in the past. And if we live in the darkness, we can never truly call them out or see them for what they really are. When we have the courage, and it does require courage, this is why we continually explore speaking from a heart-centered space here, from a heart of compassion, from taking our time into acknowledging every little corner of who we are with love, with compassion, because when we do it this way, we're able to look at these emotions, at past hurts, through a spectrum of light, as Sabi suggests. And if we can look at it through a spectrum of light, then it starts to clear out the darkness. And when it's out in the light, what immediately happens, and for those of you who are with me on this, who know about this, who have had this experience, what happens when you put light on a past hurt? What happens when you actually take some time to acknowledge your story from the past? What happens? I'm going to ask the group to share. What happens when we actually take some time to acknowledge something from our past? Any insights on this? What happens when we put a light on a story from our past, something that has hurt us or that has upset us in the past? Yes, Janet is here. Hey, Janet. Thank you. Thank you for being here and responding. So Janet Jacobs, who is a magnificent artist, by the way, is here with us today. And she says it becomes less powerful. 100% correct, Janet. Thank you for sharing that. Sabi says release. Exactly. So what happens if we go to another person? Let's say, I'll give you an example just to illuminate, to emphasize what's been shared here. And that's exactly correct. So let's say you're in an art, you go to someone and you are feeling centered and calm, and you're with another person and they're really, really angry and they keep arguing and spewing and fighting with you, and you are stoic, meaning you are centered, you're in alignment, and you're not responding, you're not throwing back argument or anger or negative words or anything that would add fuel to the fire. You're not doing that. What starts to happen to the other person? Well, eventually, whenever someone is really pissed off and they're spewing out a lot of negativity and we don't respond to it, eventually the person either stops or they leave. Because how can you fight with someone who's not fighting with you? Do you see what I mean? So if we are able to put a little bit of light, if we are able to name these emotions that are deep within us, what happens is they lose their charge. They become ineffective, certainly less effective. Elise says, this happened recently. The feelings all spilled out. And then there is tremendous release. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. So listen, this is really work of inner healing, right? We are here together to maximize our own personal, individual healing potentiality so that we don't constantly need to go out into the world looking for ways to heal us. Of course, we can find support. I offer support. That's the work I do. A lot of you here do the same thing. You offer support. You help others. We are in the service industry. And at the same time, what we want as service providers, right, in the healing arts, is that we want to offer people tools as well as ourselves, because as a person in the healing arts, I continuously work on myself to try to become better. And that's a daily practice, which is why we have rituals, which is why we are all writing our gratitudes on the Duchenne Method Facebook group page every single day. People are showing up, writing their gratitudes. It has a plethora of benefits. First, you're joining a community, so you feel like you're not alone. And then you can write down, even through the gratitudes, even through having a hard day, we can find those specks of light to illuminate emotions, stories from our past that are no longer serving us. Thank you. Yes, Jenny, right. Whoa, that's cool. You can do that. Yes, you can do that. So this week, acknowledging your story to heal yourself. A very simple tool is to journal. Write about your story. And my friends, can you recreate those parts of your story that are no longer appropriate right now? It's the past. It's over. Whatever happened in the past, it's over. Unless you decide to wear it as a cloak, as this big badge of honor. And why would you do that if it just keeps bringing up negativity in your mind? I want you to really think about this seriously. Listen, this is the time to move forward. There has never been a better time to move forward. There is so much going on in the world. Let us as a community be the healers for ourselves. Because when we heal ourselves, we can heal others. And we don't even have to do anything. You know why? Because you are resplendent, you are radiant, you are happy for no good reason at all, just because you're alive, just because you have access to doing your art, because you're finding different ways of finding solutions for your business, because you are practicing being a better parent every single day through mindful communication with your children, with your community, to really cultivate the power of personal happiness and healing from deep within. We can do this every single day. How many people do you encounter who are just miserable? You can see it. People are angry. You can certainly see it on social media. People just spew negativity. I'm always amazed by this. I am always amazed. Really, I don't understand why anyone would want to stay in that situation. But of course, I understand, because they're holding on to their story of the past, of how they have been betrayed or belittled, or they are in their victim mode. Do you know what that means? To be in your victim mode means that you are feeling sorry for yourself most of the time, that life was unfair for you, that you got the shorter end of the stick. My dear friends, let me tell you, and you know this, we've all had the shorter end of the stick. All of us. All of us. You get to choose. You get to choose how you're going to move into this next moment of your life. Delivered, happy, excited, moving, getting into your life, realizing that we're all getting older. I'm older than I've ever been, but I'm younger than I'm ever going to be, right? So every single day is an opportunity to step into your radiance from a very real space of personal healing. Elise writes, I think at one time this cloak was a shield, but now it's a straitjacket. Ah, awesome insight, Elise. At one time, her cloak was a shield, protected her, but now it's become a straitjacket. Thank you, Elise. That's super powerful. What once might have protected us might have become an inhibitor, right? We change, we evolve. And this is why we're here, to evolve, to grow our consciousness as a group together. My friends, we're coming to the end of our class today. Any comments, any insights, anything you want to share with the group, please, this is the time to write it in the comments. I have a couple of public announcements. Woohoo! I'm super excited to let you know that two big things. I am doing a retreat from August 24th to August 27th in Quebec City. I will be publicizing it shortly, but I wanted to share it with you first because there are very few spaces. I think I'm only having about 20 to 25 people. I think less than that. So it's a small group. I am calling it the Somatic Salon Retreat. We're doing this in August, 24th to the 27th in Quebec City. So I'm giving you a heads up in case you might be interested to join us. The entire weekend, it's 3 nights, 4 days, we'll be focusing on processing somatic techniques. So there will be meditation, there will be dynamic movement, there will be writing, there will be the circle of creation where we get to share. There will be other surprises, and I may even be accompanied by 1 or 2 other amazing practitioners to help us move into somatic processing. It's very beautiful. It's very safe. I hope that you will consider joining us. And I'm going to put it out on our Facebook group page first. For those of you who are in our private group, you get access to it first. Second announcement. I am launching my coaching program. I think we begin June 6th, 2023. I have to check with my program director, but it's definitely June 2023. That is a 6-month coaching program that I am doing. And I will be announcing that very soon with the details of everything if you want to join us. Mostly this coaching program will be online with the retreat in August. It's all strategically designed in there. So I'm giving you a heads up in case you might be interested in deepening your mind-body alignment work and evolving yourself with a community, with a group of other people, such as are in this group, and moving forward into developing these beautiful, beautiful skills that aim to heal us through acknowledgement, through engagement, and of course, through supporting one another. So please stay tuned. And finally, if you have any amazing people in your life that you would like to invite into our sacred circle of creation, please send them to the Duchenne Method Facebook group page. They will have to request to be accepted. I send them a little note to touch base, and then from there, they can be part of our group, right? Because we have to match the right people. Now, if you send me people, they're pretty much matched because they're referrals from you. Thank you in advance. Let's see. Sabi says, thank you so much for this generous live. I've enjoyed it much. Thank you, Sabi. I enjoy you all the time. Jenny, yes. What's with the skull with red and blue on the shelf? Inquiring minds want to know. Oh, yeah. My skull. Yeah. So maybe I can do a class on the cranial bones because I use it to teach. So that's my skull that I use to teach. And thanks, Jenny. I'll do a little bit of a class on the cranium. How about that? Our cranial bones, how they come together, how they actually form in embryology. Thanks for the question. I love questions. All right, my friends. I love you. Thank you for being with me today. I will see you next Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, same place, same time. Kisses to everyone. Bye. Thanks for being here.